All right.
Callum, while we've got a minute, I got a quick question about Kemetism. One, if you could address it.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely off topic, but would you mind
Mm-hmm.
fielding the question?
No problem, G.
Okay, what's the Kemet take on extraterrestrial, alien, that kind of thing? Otherworldly life. Is there a position or a teaching or a dogma?
Uh, unless you are you talking about planets or are you talking about actual
Well, just
sentient beings?
well, planets, not so much planets, but sentient beings like aliens or whatever, life on other planets. Is there a doctrine?
All right. So in Kemet, okay, let me do like this. I've seen a lot of people put forward claims that they are aliens, being taught in ancient Egypt or ancient Kemet. Personally, I have not seen nothing like that to substantiate those teachings at all. Personally, I haven't seen anything that can substantiate those teachings. I'm not saying that there isn't other life from planets or in different galaxies or in different solar systems or universes or whatever the case is. I'm not saying that. I'm going to simply tell you that there is evidence that I've seen and I've studied quite heavily that suggests that there are extraterrestrial, alien, sentient beings living outside of this planet.
Okay, is that a conclusion you've come to yourself, or is that a conclusion that you've reached examining the literature of Kemet?
Yeah, that's I've reached that by examining the literature of Kemet. I've reached that by examining the claims that people put forward under the name of Kemet or ancient Egypt, and none of those claims hold up in my eyes. So for example, you will have, let me see this. Let's see if I can give you an example. I'm trying to just Google something real quickly.
While you're Googling, I think there's a few stories about mummified corpses inside Egypt that were found in secret tombs, etc., that weren't very human looking, which is where I found all of this crazy stuff theory from.
Yeah. So there is these type of things here where, you have these things that look like hovercrafts, that look like spaceships, and so forth and so forth. But my good brother Ujau on his website, okay, literally done a big debunking of these things, showing you how these are actually hieroglyphs, that was plastered over because there were mistakes on them. And there's just secondary hieroglyphs on top of them that makes it look as though we're utilizing our own mind and drawing conclusions where conclusions aren't really there if we actually understand the Kemetic text itself. So there's these type of things that people put forward as to say, yeah, look, there's there is aliens, but no, there's things like this. Yeah, look, we had electricity and so forth. No, I particularly hold these things to be pseudo, meaning that they look scientific, they look like it could be true, but once you really go down and delve into it, you'll find that there is they weren't trying to express alien ships or anything like that. We're only utilizing our own mind to to draw patterns and conclusions. But if we understand the text, we can see that there are several hieroglyphs that's laid upon each other. I can see the several hieroglyphs laid upon each other, but it'd be very difficult to try to explain that to somebody who don't understand the hieroglyph language.
Yeah. And I was gonna say something.
So, did you want to?
Oh. I was reading them a little bit because you got the hand up there at the top, which is the B. You got the Q right up. You got it looks like the R or the Neb symbol, one or the other, or the K. One I can barely see. I remember because I think I was on the show when he was doing it, when we was breaking it down. I may not have been. You got the T, the I, the Henek symbol for offering. You can see all that right. Suit at the beginning.
That's right.
It's a helicopter. They had helicopters in Kemet, whatever.
You can see the Chem symbol there, as you said, the R or the mouth symbol. You can see the hand symbol here. You can see all of these different types of things, but because it's laid upon each other, and somebody who don't understand the hieroglyph language or the script itself, you know, can draw conclusions or false conclusions as though, I don't know, I think this is going to be a helicopter over here. This is meant to be a hovercraft or a spaceship, but no, it's none of those things there.
I will say, I will let the brother Budha know as well. Yeah, the reason as well that you start seeing all this alien stuff, especially when you're dealing with ancient Kemet, is because remember you got to deal with these white Egyptologists that, you know, wanted to prove that there was aliens and stuff in Kemet, because, you know, dealing with, you know, the pyramid buildings and all this high technology that they had there, they couldn't fathom that, you know, some black Africans or, you know, African people could build such things. So they thought, you know what, they must have had help by someone. You know, they must have got some from some extraterrestrials who whiz around in spacecrafts and come down and gave them the knowledge, because, you know, we've been putting in books that these Africans are savages. So
you took the words right out of my mouth. Exactly. Yeah, these black people are savages. How can they do such a task?
You see what I'm saying? So then that's how that whole thing starts taking speed. They start saying, it was extraterrestrials. But it's funny, you only see that when it's dealing with ancient Kemet. But any other civilizations or buildings, they don't talk about no extraterrestrials coming down and.
Well, no, they do. They do. In fairness, they do. There's ancient astronaut theory kind of applies to a lot of places. Any place you find pyramids, which is more or less all over the world, they try to associate with ancient astronaut theory.
But they're yet to prove and show us where these aliens are or who's come down and gave what knowledge. That's the funny thing. Like, no one don't know who it was, but, you know.
Yeah, that's precisely why I asked if there was a doctrine in regards to Kemet. Gabz, are you a medicine man? Are you, by any chance?
What do you mean, like a literal medicine man? What, with herbs?
Yeah, with herbs and stuff like that.
No. I don't deal with. I'm not in the forest of the, you know, concocting up remedies and stuff like that. No. I just nickname myself the medicine man. You know, as someone that gives medicine, you know, to help the sick. Do you know what I mean?
So you never heard of monoatomic gold by any chance, have you?
Oh yeah, I heard of that, but Dr. Delbert Blair. That's Dr. Delbert Blair stuff. Yeah. I heard about that. Yeah. You know about that? Dr. Delbert Blair, he talks a lot on the he passed away, one of the ancestors, he passed away, but he spoke a lot on the monatomic gold and the diodes and all that stuff.
What's his name? Hold on, let me just write that down so I can check that out later. What's his name again?
Dr. Delbert Blair.
Delbert Blair.
Okay. Some might know about him. He's from America.
Okay. Delbert Blair. All right, cool. I'm gonna check that out. Nice one.
Yeah, cool.
He just passed recently. The Aku did too, but yeah, that was sad. I was trying to get him out here to Colorado, as a matter of fact, and you know, we got the he was on somebody's talk show. We was talking to him, and then he passed like shortly after. It was kind of weird. But yeah, nature is your key, you know, and even, especially since we talking in the Muslim fashion, the part of the problem is your book talks against itself sometimes. No disrespect to the Quran, but it says stuff like, surely Allah alone is the creator of all things, and he is the one, the most supreme. Surah 13, ayah 17. You know, I am only a warner. There is no God but Allah, the one, the most supreme. Surah 23, ayah 66. Holy is he. He is Allah, the one, the most supreme. It gives you all the supreme Allah. You know, it tells you that say nothing shall befall us, say that which Allah has ordained for us. It's Allah, Allah, Allah. But how do you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How do you know Yahweh if you're a Hebrew? How do you know these other things about life if you've never met your God in person? So you have to rely on your text a little better. Right, you have to go to texts like Surah Ibrahim, Surah 14, ayah 32, and he has made the rivers subservient to you. Right, you have to go to you know, different different texts like Surah An-Nahl, Ayah 12, when it says, and he has made the night and the day and the sun and the moon subservient to you. Right? So these are the ways that you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you cannot physically know him. He's separate from his creation according to your ayahs. Right? So you have to know nature in order to know your God. That's how you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through your God. Don't forget Surah Al-Ikhlas. This is the only way that you have a conversation with him. You don't have it directly. You can talk to him like we talk to our Aku. The difference is we might have actually met one of our ancestors here, and we have remnants of our ancient ancestors being here. You've never seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you can never count out nature, because that's the way that you say you know him. The desert Bedouin told you how, he said, they asked him, they said, how do you know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exists? He said, because the footprints are in the constellations.
Brother, sorry to interrupt, but don't the Jews believe that Moses faced and saw Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, face to face?
Claim that, but what existence do you have of Moses living?
Yeah.
You can't find him, can you? So,
not really.
like I said, when you talk Moses, didn't he look in a burning bush? What's a bush? That's nature. You can't know anything exists except for through nature. You are nature. What is Moses? He's a man.
That's true.
He said a bush talked to him. That's your story, right? So nature is talking to Moses. Nature is dealing with Moses. You can only know your God through nature, if that's your premise.
All right. Let me just get it in real quickly. Again, family, if you tagged Titans TV, I will definitely try to get your questions read out. Beast on the Street says, clearly you never read the Quran. Okay. Who never read the Quran? It says here, Patrick Park says, it is dumb to mock the Kemetic metaphorical myths by pretending that they are claimed to be literal and historical. Tell them, Titans TV. Yeah, I know. Not face to face. Okay, cool. Just making sure I get all your stuff out there. Pence says, yeah, please get Megatron on the panel. Yo, we've got him in the panel right now. We've got him on the panel right now. So we'll see what's really good. Let's see. The business trees, you missed the message before. Okay, yeah, I missed it. Must have. The player say son. Saluddin says the anarchism, my eyes is going, you know. The anarchism is real. Modern notions of race never existed in ancient Egypt. Yep, I agree with you. That's one thing I agree with you, Salahuddin. And it says here, Kemet means black land, which refers to the black soil near the river Nile. Okay, it isn't referring to skin color. Okay, the word Kemet can refer to skin color. I'll put it like that. Okay, the word Kemet or Kemtu definitely is and can refer to skin color. And I'll do it like this. Since you are, I would assume by your name, Arabic speaking, I would ask you, okay, how would you say dark or dark person?
Like Kedar, right?
Like Kedar, but
you know, there is the same word, i.e. ham or ham and kam in your language. Ham and kam. And if you wanted to apply that towards a person or thing, what suffix or nominal suffix ending do you add to it, to that word? You would add a T to the end of that word. Hence, you get the word Kemet or Kamai or Kami or Kemi or Kemet. Sometimes the T is dropped. So yes, you're talking, but you're not saying much. K Murphy Christian Apologetic says, Time TV, I'm about to email you. I will debate Isaac nor Ishmael, Hebrew Israelites, to ask what day I can. All right, cool. You do that. Do you guys believe? Sorry, one quick question. I can already tell that you, by the question, I'm going to say no. Okay, so Mentho 2010 says, do you guys believe the Israelites existed? Number one, we deal with knowledge, so we don't deal with beliefs. Number two, there is evidence to suggest that, those who you're talking about that lived inside of the area of Judah, Jerusalem, the Canaanite, Levant region, are those individuals there. Whether they fit the structure 100% as narrated in the Bible, I'm not going to say yes. But those people who claim to be Israelites or claim to be Judeans, yes, they existed. You are right. We are one nature. Nature is everything, pretty much. Only a fool would put faith in something beyond. All right. Okay.
Kalam, can I go back to Ausar? Just 1 minute.
Go ahead.
He talked about nature, but I once read in the Quran that God used the nature to prove himself. So like, don't you see what we create, like this and that?
Uses nature.
Yeah, like how could you believe that this came out of nothing or something? You know, trying to prove himself from nature.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. The Quran utilizes nature away from its text itself. It utilizes nature. Again, a lot of these things that some of these Muslims preach and teach, and I call them the cult, the Wahhabi cult, has got nothing to do with the Quran. It's got nothing to do with Quran, got nothing to do with Allah, nothing at all. They just create their fanciful ideology and pass it off as Islam, whereas nothing to do with Islam at all.
Yeah, mainly on the
Islam will
hadith.
tell you. Yeah, Islam will teach you utilize nature 100% of the time. All right, Joe, my brother, let's get you in.
Good evening, everybody. Salute. It's a wonderful show again, going through the Kemetic text. Now, I just want to reiterate exactly what Kalam has just said, that the criticisms or the answers or objections that Brother Gabz and the rest of the panel members are giving actually applies to the Hyde Park Muslims, i.e. Thug Islam, which we have given the name Salafi or Wahhabi Islam. Because if you go back to the show that me, Saracen, and Raza conducted, we actually mentioned that they do not philosophize, nor are they into spirituality. Now, I want to actually go into some parallels that I have drawn as a novice. So, for example, you mentioned obviously the concept of gnosis and knowledge or belief. I mentioned in a private chat rather than a public chat that the whole purpose of the Muslim Orthodox path is gnosis, what we call ma'rifah, from the word arafa ya'rifu, to know, to have cognizance. So because what the Hyde Park Thug Islam Muslims would tell you is, God says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I did not create man and the jinn except to worship me. But however, the people who have been initiated know that the actual meaning of this is to actually know God. And that's why in the other parts of Quran it says, know that He is one. He is a one divine unit, one divine being, this divine oneness. Now, in the text, you mentioned the principle of four. Now, I want to go. There's lots and lots of symbology in the text. Kalam went through, and obviously due to the levels of intellect, I'm sure he never went into much detail. But even in Islam, we have alchemy. In the Orthodox expression, alchemy, we call it alchemia, which actually comes from the the Kemetic word chem, the science of the melanated, the black lands. To the extent that we have, if you, once you're initiated and once you actually go on to become a scholar, you actually incorporate this within the liberal arts or the artes liberales, where you have the trivium, which composes of one aspect where you have grammar, rhetoric and logic, and then you have the quadrivium, where you have the geometry, arithmetic, music, and astronomy. Now 4 and 3 equals 7, and everybody knows the significance of the number 7. Likewise, similarly, we have the 4 elements. We have fire, air, water, earth, and we also have the 3 principles, which is sulfur, salt, and mercury, which 4 and 3 address make 7, the 7 planets of cosmology: the moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, etc., etc. Regarding spirituality, people like Ghazali and the thinkers after him and before him have written books such as Alchemy, Sa'adat, which I'm sure Adnan Rashid will have heard of it, but because he is still on this literalist plane, will not have read, literally meaning the alchemy of happiness or the alchemy of felicity. And in it, I've got that book with me right now in the Persian language. Ghazali actually says that knowledge of self is the key to the knowledge of God. And he actually quotes a prophetic hadith or narration, which goes in Arabic: Man arafa nafsa faqad arafa rabba. He who knows himself knows God. Now we know, obviously I'm not saying this is unique to Prophet Muhammad, because many other civilizations past have had this idiom. For example, in the hieroglyphs on the walls of the pyramids and tombs, we do see this actual idiom. But nonetheless, Ghazali continues, and he mentions a verse in the Quran where he goes, "We will show them our signs, our ayat," which are signs. Signs is not saying like pointing towards this divine oneness where we can draw divine principles. He goes, "We will show them our signs in the world and in themselves, that the truth may be manifest to them." Similarly, in the text, Kalam mentioned the word command. Now in Islam, we have the verse where it goes, and whenever we want to will a thing, we say be, and it is. Now the be in Arabic is kun. Now kun is a command, is imperative, and many thinkers have actually espoused the significance of the command. They also mention forgetting, the concept of forgetting and remembering. Now in the Quran, if you read it in Arabic, you keep reciting the word kul, kul huwallahu ahad, kul this, kul that. Now if you look at the esoteric text, it actually mentions kul literally means remember, i.e. telling man, who is the microcosm, to remember his actual divine origin, to actually manifest the potentiality he has, the actualizing. And this is actually one of the meanings of the word, of the verb to create, to actually actualize his divine. Because again in the esoteric text, because one of the purposes is at-takhalluq bi akhlaqillah, to actually carry characteristics of Allah, of God. He also mentioned the titles we have in the Kemetic tradition, which are, I think you mentioned Sarah, which is son of Ra, the son of the sun. Similarly, we have this concept called the perfected man, where this man actually, which everybody aspires to be, by the person who has gone through the alchemical process, has manifested, has actualized its potential. And one of the titles we give him is Dhillullahi fil ard, the shadow of God on earth. Similarly, some of the saints have been titled the falcon, or the Horus, the Horus principle, the falcon. Because why? When one looks up in the night sky, for example, you feel this sort of awe, this sort of this magnanimity comes over oneself. Osa mentioned where God strikes many examples of nature in the Quran. Now, every time he strikes these examples, he actually goes, "We strike these examples for man, that he may think, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, that he may contemplate, that he may deliberate," which sometimes people are not actually doing. I've got Ibn Arabi's book with me here, where he actually says, when God says that we have made the cosmos subservient to man, he actually writes in poem form that this shows that man is both a god. I'm going to say God with the lowercase g, before I get fatwas on me. A lowercase g, and he's human at the same time, meaning he's a barzakh, a
hold up,
Please,
brother.
sorry,
Not to cut you off. I'm just going to add to what you're saying and let you continue. But it says, and no soul can die except by Allah's leave, a decree with the fixed term. Surah 3, ayah 146, and it says they had any part in the government of affairs, we should not have been killed here. But it hold up, the one about this will clear up what you said, just so you don't get no issues. It is, where did I put it? I can't remember. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it says, if there had been in them, no, where'd it go? There it goes. All right. So, and he has and he has made subservient to you whatsoever is in the heavens and whatsoever is in the earth, all from himself. This is Surah Al-Jathiyah, number 45, ayah 13. Ayah 13.
Exactly. Thank you for bringing up the references. And so to continue, I said, and what I was saying, so meaning that man is, he is and he is not. He is both real and unreal. He's both God and not God. But this kind of affirmation, negation, this kind of being in the middle, this connecting the heavens and the earth together. That's why if you look at the Sufis, when they whirl, one of their hand actions is one of their hands is facing upwards and one of them is facing downwards. But if anyone has some understanding of the tarot cards, they have one of the tarot cards where the Magi has one of his hands facing upwards and facing downwards, i.e. being the bridge between the heaven and the earth. And when, for example, when they do the salat, the actual prayer, the first position is man is standing upright, showing that he's the vicegerent of God on earth, the Khalifatullah fil ard. And then one of the other positions is actually the prostration, where he's basically showing again this dichotomy, this bridge, this duality, this polarity. Now, I'm just going to mention one of Ibn Arabi's quotes here. He goes, every created thing is a self-disclosure of the real, a manifestation, what is known as tajalli in Arabic, but never the real himself. He is and he's not, this kind of concept. And he goes, delimitation is a characteristic of the creatures. Delimitation meaning God being unveiled to the man, or the letters and words articulated within the all-merciful. And lastly, regarding the people in Hyde Park, he also mentioned that because man is the both microcosm and a macrocosm, reiterating the Quranic ayat where God says, Huwa al-awwal wal-akhir, he is the first and the last, wal-zahir wal-batin, and both the apparent and the manifest and the non-manifest. He says that in short, people's outward situations depends on their inward situations. After all, the divine form that they embody pertains primarily to their inward attributes, their character traits. So basically, if your character traits are thuggish Islam, a passive aggressive nature where you want to dominate, want to have a monopolistic power over Hyde Park, a hegemony over the park, you will actually manifest this inside your idol, your God, which is basically an idol. Which we had a famous 9th century saint called Junaid al-Baghdadi, where he goes, the water takes on the color of the cup. Rumi, everyone's heard of Rumi. He was not only some Sufi mystic or who's just a lost or wandering man, because he actually inherited a whole library because his great grandfather was a king. He actually says, if you pour the ocean into a jug, how much will it hold? Each person's jug is different, so his actual conceptualization of the divine will actually reflect his jug, his inner being, his nature. So I'll too long now.
Powerful. My brother just broke that down. Listen, family. Okay, we haven't got long left. Okay, we haven't got long left. I know it's even earlier that we might be closing early today, but we've gone over the 2-hour mark. We've gone over to the 2-hour mark already. Well, that's what it's saying anyway, so I'm not too sure. Then we over mark on. But let me just quickly get somebody on here that might just throw things south. And so let me get my brother Megatron on. Megatron, Ruslan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Kalam?
Wa alaikum salam.
Wa alaikum salam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Kayfa haluk?
So,
for one, he then came home.
Excuse me, sorry. You were saying that we should look to nature before we look to anything else, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so nature takes precedence over anything.
Let me clarify it real quickly. Nature, i.e., if we're talking about nature and we're saying our external, yes. And if we're talking about nature, i.e., our internal as well, yes.
Okay.
So both internal and external.
I don't know if you've ever studied or ever heard about the mallard duck. What the mallard duck does is that the male mallard duck, in order to pass on his alleles to the next offspring, he basically goes and forcefully puts his alleles into the female mallard duck. In the human sense, we would call this rape. Now, since you said that we have to look at creation, at nature, before we look at anything, which is called the appealing to nature argument, then from a Kemetic point of view, is therefore rape not objectively wrong, but only subjectively wrong?
Yo, this guy. What? Duck. The man said duck, yeah?
If you're not a duck, you probably should the duck's nature in order to reflect on your full nature. So your cognitive senses are a little different than a duck's, unless you quack. But rape is also subject in human society, and ducks also fight each other over rape. So it's not like the society of ducks don't get mad at each other when this act takes place, right? Cognitive reasoning here.
So where does you get objective moral values from? If you said that your precedence over anything is nature, then surely we need to look at nature for our so-called values.
It's the law of nature. This is the law of nature. It's the way of things.
Can I answer his question? Yeah.
Go through.
Ex-Muslim.
Megatron,
whatever you call yourself. Yeah, I'm Optimus Prime. I'm joking. What was I gonna say again? I'm trying to understand, and this is where I'm trying to understand your trail of thought, because you obviously for some reason picked at this duck to give an example of.
I can give many examples. Don't get me wrong. I just particularly picked.
That's fine. But like you said, it's true, because remember, you're right. We had certain societies, especially coming from some of the Indo-European societies, of rape and forcing themselves on their women, you know what I mean, and doing these type of things, and looking to what the animals do and thinking they can do the same things that animals are doing. Do you know what I mean? So you're right. But what it is, like I said, there's things in nature that shows you the right ways to do. So, you using your own intellect here, using your own intellect and understanding, and you using your own, what's the word? Your own reasoning, which you get from your family, to understand that, listen, if I'm going to force myself on this woman, I'm going to see the effects that it's going to have. So hence, if I force myself and she's screaming and crying, in my mind, someone screaming and crying obviously means that they're in some discomfort, yeah? They're not happy, because they're not smiling, they're not laughing. So in my mind, in the mind of someone being from Africa, I would see, this person obviously is not liking this act. Do you see what I'm saying? So you would rationally come to that. You will come to the conclusion. You will come to the conclusion knowing that obviously whatever's going on here is not right.
Megatron, do you know what I gotta say, man? There's something seriously wrong with your psychological.
No. That's a perfectly legitimate question.
Excuse me. Hello, John. Listen. Last time you come in with some madness, I don't know, can't remember what it was you was talking about, but something about Kemet. You picked out the worst thing you could find in Kemet literature. Yeah, after getting a whole lecture about it, and this time now you're coming with raping ducks. What is it with you? What can't you come in a bit more? You know what I mean?
Okay, so can I explain myself to you?
You don't have to explain yourself to me. I'm just making an observation.
all I
Last
did.
time it was something about sperm and the gods or some
No,
masturbating something,
first of
and
all,
now this time there's something seriously not right, you know.
first of all, I was just quoting some Kemetic literature. So if you're making fun of that, you're making fun of Kemetic literature, and you're not making fun of me, right? So please get your facts right. All I did was quote.
Wait, Metrico, listen.
All right. Let's get some order back in here. All right. This is what I'm gonna do. So, brother Megatron, okay. You posed the question. Now, I believe an answer was given to you. Now, what was the purpose of that question? What was the point that you were trying to prove in terms of? I guess it's to say, go on. Let me not even put words into your mouth, but go ahead.
Sorry. Right. Let me explain myself to you. You said that nature should take precedence over everything. So using that criteria, I like to quote Dr. James White on this. That inconsistency is a sign of a failed argument. So if we look at nature for everything, right? Gabz very interestingly said, we can look at nature to see what is right. Well, how do you know that? If there is no right and wrong on an objective level that transcends all of nature, how can we know what is right and wrong? And Gabz said that some things in nature is right. How does he know that? How does he not say that's just a moral change rather than a moral improvement? How does he make that distinction? So you guys are all making, you're not dealing with the philosophical ramifications of this. So please try and answer the question and stop making fun of me. Thank you.
We all have a code of ethics.
We get this.
Oh, go ahead. Say the Kalam. I'm sorry.
Okay. If I get this correctly, you're basically saying that whatever it is, our morals are based on subjectivity. Is that the end point that you're gonna get to?
Yes, I'm saying that's what your logical conclusion is that all morals is just the byproduct of nature. And if it's the byproduct of nature, then it's changing with the times. Therefore, it's subjective. Therefore, there is no objective reality of wrong and good.
Okay. And you're basically putting forward the argument. Therefore, I'm a Christian. I have objective morality because God has told me what is right and what is wrong. Right?
I believe God has.
If I'm going to get what you're going to say.
I believe that God has put down the moral framework in which we can distinguish between things that are wrong and things that are good. So from at least my worldview, I think I can make more sense out of the whole explanation of where morality comes in from.
Hold on a sec. Can I just answer that quickly? Because I think I answered that earlier. And that moral of what is right, basically what is good and evil, at what point did that come? I hope that didn't come from the part when God put that tree that was in nature, which was good, that was the tree of good and evil.
Right, that's sort of a red herring of a question. I'm just talking about philosophically, would it be more sensible?
No, because we're talking about your book. This is where you can't shy away from it, because you're talking about what is right, good, and evil, where you get your morals from. But remember, prior to man eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, they couldn't have understood what was right and what was wrong. So that act that God put, that thing that God put in nature, yeah, symbolized by the tree, yeah, which they ate, and now God said, now man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil, which is knowledge. Yes.
Right.
So that's still dealing with the nature. That's still nature that God had to put it in. Do you see what I'm saying?
No,
because
really.
unless you're going to tell me, unless you're going to tell me prior to God giving Moses, unless you're going to tell me prior to God giving Moses the 10 Commandments, nobody on the planet Earth had any morals. You're going to have to explain that to me, because obviously
the blessed apostle Paul tells us in the New Testament that God has imputed certain moral virtues within our very souls, if you like. So no one has to teach us that killing and stealing and pillaging is wrong. This is something that is ingrained with us. So
some people did need that, because that's why the laws was created, saying thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. So obviously some people did need that extra bit of etching and sketching and had to be taught that. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really say that if some people had to get that written down for them on a stone.
Gabz, it's not like as soon as the 10 commandments came that Moses went, oh, so you're telling me murder is wrong. I didn't know prior to that before. Obviously, he knew what it was, but this was a law, and the first 10 commandments is part of the 613 laws that were for the children of Israel. So obviously,
Moses was a murderer
prior to the 10 commandments.
Okay,
Moses
but then
before he got that command. So that would be contradictory to what you say. He did murder somebody, and God had to give him those commandments for him to know the difference between the two. So you contradict your story. How did Moses know if God didn't tell him? And why did he murder somebody if he just naturally had it in him?
Like I said, God imputed certain moral. This is something that we're born with. That's why God tells us we are created.
Okay, stop, real quickly. So if I'm getting you right, my brother, you're saying that God has given us a moral framework. Is that a written moral framework, or is that an internal moral framework? Megatron.
Both.
It's both. Which one came first?
Obviously, the internal moral virtue.
Okay. And now let's just say, you have your internal moral virtues and you wanted to do a comparison with, let's say, the Kemetics, with the Kemetics versus your moral framework.
Right.
Yeah. What's your difference? Is there a difference at all? I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from.
I know that incest and homosexuality was not something that was frowned upon in ancient Egypt. However, from the Judeo-Christian point of view, it is frowned upon.
Where did you get that from?
Exactly. This guy is the worst.
So you're telling me that's not true?
No, that's definitely not true. I thought.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I don't even. Let's not play that. That's one of them Adnan Rashid games. Okay. Let's just you made a claim, so provide the receipts, provide the evidence where this was something that we practiced as though it was something that was normal or something that we accepted.
Right.
Oh, he's gone to
Google.
Could
you provide it?
Yeah, I can provide. Don't worry.
Go on Google quickly.
Okay.
You mind if I add something, Kalam, while he digs through Google?
Yeah, you can add something. I just want to quickly say this: like a lot of times, people make very outlandish, crazy claims, and then they will ask us to justify those things. I'm saying, family, do not dance to other people's tunes.
Right.
Okay, do not dance to other people's tunes,
so
because they can make up anything. Okay, they'll make up anything, and then you'll be looking at the idiot trying to justify yourself, even though they haven't provided any evidence whatsoever.
So we have from the Talmudic literature, they talk about that the ancient Egypts had a very liberal sexual lifestyle, which included some sort of sexual debauchery, which included homosexuality. And also you have the story of Seth and Horus as well. And also in ancient literature, we don't see any outright condemnation of homosexuality as well.
Okay, so let me just stop you right there, okay? The problem with you, my brother, okay, I've said it time and time again, is like, if you really, again, I know you don't have no desire to truly learn anything to do with Kemet. You're on attack mode right now, okay? And you want to attack. That's cool. Like, maybe do that with the Muslims or something like that, okay? You might have more fun over there. They might give you the time and so forth, yeah. But when you come over here and you start doing Google searches and you're finding, Google things, like you're literally just Googling. That's what you're doing right now. And you haven't actually picked up any book to do with ancient Egypt, Kemet itself, okay? And you're making up these wild claims that you really can't. You know what? I'm just going to do this real quickly, yeah? Just real quickly with you. Just real quickly. And I'm not going to do this again, okay? Because it's just a waste of my time, to be honest with you. I'm just going to do this.
Grab the Herodotus verse also for what they said.
This is a book right here, all right? And if you really want to actually talk about ancient Egypt or Kemet and its philosophy, pick up a book. Pick up a book, see what they actually taught, what they supposedly believed in, you know, and, you know, what type of ethics or morals they actually had. This is a brilliant book right here. This is called The Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. A better way, a better terminology for this is, you know, coming from the night or coming from darkness into the light. So this is a book of enlightenment right here. And I'm just going to quickly just jump. Let's quickly go into some 42 laws. 42 laws. Real quickly. You know, you can. Let me just do this real quickly. Yo, do you wanna quickly just take over, and then I'll just read that out real quickly.
Let me be clear real quick. Herodotus told you what happened to those who had funny sexual deviance. They were usually sent off to Libya. He was told this from one of the Sim priests who was giving him the tour. So they clearly had issues with those who had funny sexual nature or tended to try to like boys. They generally sent them over to Libya to deal with it. He speaks of several people that were sent over in that direction before Kalam even reads the particular verse in the book of Coming Forth by Day, which tells you in the virtues of Ma'at, in the hall of Ma'at, that
should I read it out? Actually, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do one better than all of that. I'm actually gonna put it on here so people can actually see it. So if somebody comes with that nonsense again, everybody else can see it and can know that we don't deal with that.
That's not the best answer. Rather, a better answer than that is that, well, even if
no, Kalam gonna read the best answer because he's gonna read from the book of Coming Forth by Day. I just didn't want to spoil it before it gets there. That's as good as it gets historically, where you show somebody who hasn't. But there's also something in the coffin and pyramid text that tells you we don't play that nature. It says to die and be taken by Set from behind is a deviant situation. But I'm not going to pull that text out because I got to get ready to go to school.
Okay. All right, I've got it here, but I wanted to actually share it on the screen so everybody else can actually read it themselves. Yeah, let's just see. It should be number 14. So. Oh, you whose face is behind him, who's come forth from the cavern of wrong, I have neither misconducted myself nor copulated with a boy. So that's one of them right here, actually. Should we do that? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Let me read it out for you. Let me see. Is it on my screen? I wanted to actually get it up on my screen for you. But one of them here, this is the 42 negative confessions. It says here, oh, you whose face is behind him, who came forth from the cavern of wrong, misconducted myself, nor copulated with a boy. Okay? We do not deal with that. This is the things that we call here a great isfet, a great wrong. We never dealt with no type of homosexuality at all. Okay? It was frowned upon with inside of Kemetic culture. Homosexuality.
Don't you have the story with Seth and Horus in your Kemetic, in your literature?
And what was it teaching? It was teaching this is a vile act that only Set or somebody who has a destructive element or destructive nature would perpetuate. It's teaching you what is wrong.
But in
what is Isfet.
In
Brother
the,
Kalam, also in that story, since you mentioned it, he never actually copulates with Heru. Heru grabs it and doesn't allow it to penetrate him. He takes it to Aset, she cuts his hand off. Then she pours it on lettuce that Set eats. And when Set says that he's done this act, the Netcharu asks for the semen to come out of the person that was in violation, and the semen starts to come out of Set, the chaotic figure. He's the trickster in the story. That's foolishness for you to even try to say Heru was homosexual, or that we would like homosexuality, when the story is clearly showing you that homosexuality is not something that we enjoin in.
Right. But like, for example, in the book of Leviticus, where it specifically condemns, like, man shall not lie with a man, do you have that kind of commandment in the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at?
Bro, you just read it. Why do you need it to say, does it need to be line by line like in Leviticus? I don't understand. It's like you're trying to look for stuff that's exactly what's in the Bible. It needs to be the same in Kemetic philosophy. Bro, are you all right? Come on, bro. Come on.
Bro, okay, let's
from the 42 laws of Ma'at. He's broken it down to you, and you're still asking questions. Bro, don't push this agenda that you want on it, bro. It's not there. Why are you trying to force it on it?
Let's ask him, right? Because when you talk about condemning it, we show it in our nature. We show it in our verses. You have a story where Jonathan and David sleep together. And David also sleeps with Saul in the story. In France, they call the story the Book of Two Lovers. Do you have anything condemning homosexuality from that story? And David saying, I love Saul more than a woman's touch, I believe it is. He loves him more than any woman on the planet. Do you have anything that can condemn that verse?
Well, I need to look into that verse, but I know there's a verse in Leviticus.
Yeah, you go look into it, big bro.
Okay, now let's talk about incest. Was that frowned upon in ancient Egyptian society?
Just throwing bare quick. Kalam,
no,
are you seeing what this brother's doing?
What about Noah?
Listen,
he also did incest with his child.
Listen, my brother. This is what I'm gonna say.
Experts are just a hypocrite, bro.
Let me say this to you, okay? I don't know what exactly is your agenda. That you want to place. You're moving like another. Well, okay, you're coming up. Okay, let me just put it like this: you're coming up with homosexuality. Nowhere on here have anybody on here who are coming from the Kemetic side of things have ever stated that Kemet preaches or teaches homosexuality. In fact, you couldn't even find anywhere within side of Kemetic literature where there's homosexuality being condoned. You actually went into a Google search to go into the Talmud or the Midrash and what they say about ancient Egypt. I know he's dropped off, but hopefully be listening and he can come on maybe a later time and respond to these things. He's doing Google searches and bringing up things such as homosexuality. Okay, in ancient Egypt, in Kemet, homosexuality wasn't something that was. In fact, we have when we read out our negative confessions or the declarations of innocence. Okay, the better term for it is actually the declarations of innocence. We don't actually have any commandments here like religion has it, where somebody else is telling us what to do and what not to do. In Kemet, we are independent beings. We are like God. Remember we read from the beginning? We are like God. God gives decrees. Okay, God isn't told anything. God tells others things. Okay, so as gods within inside of our paradigm, we are telling the world, okay, that we do not practice homosexuality. We do not sleep with young boys or whatever the case is, or young men or men full stop. That is not something that we do. We're telling the world this is something that we do not do. So if anybody comes to us, okay, and tries to put these words against us as to say we sleep with young boys, yeah, we already have our defense already lined up to say, no, in fact, what we find to be a vibe side of Kemet, okay, is to be sleeping with boys or with girls. It is a vice inside of Kemet. And we're naming that we are virtuous, that we do not do these practices. These are practices that we were speaking out against when it came to other cultures, such as the Greeks and so forth, and other communities that practice these types of activities. Over in Kemet, we did not practice these things. Okay. And if you could bring somewhere where you believe we practice these things, we'll definitely do our best to answer these things. There's nothing that over here there's nothing that we should be shy of, or we should try to, you know, whatever the case, like abscond from. Like, it's nothing like that, because we already know we are innocent. We are maheru. We are true of voice. Everything that we speak forward here should be based upon rationality and intellect. We should not be moving off of emotions. We can speak passionately, but we should not be moving off of emotions and the lower vibrations that other people would like to put upon us. Other people would like to bring out these things as homosexuality and incest, okay, to get a low vibration from us, i.e. to make it say, huh, what, homosexuality, and get all crazy and mad. There's no need. There's no need. Me personally, I do not find anything wrong with homosexuality. If somebody wants to practice homosexuality, that's down to them. Okay, I'm not going to fight you because you want to practice homosexuality. But in our culture, in our custom, and in our way of life, it's not something that we do. It's not a norm. We do not teach it to our children. We do not teach it to our kins. We do not teach it to our near. We do not teach it to our loved ones within inside of our community. If you're outside of our community and that is what you want to do your thing. Okay, we just simply ask you not to bring this over into our community, but you have the freedom to do your thing in your own community. All right.
Yeah.
Kalam,
Raza speak.
Family. Go ahead, Raza.
Right.
Yeah.
Kalam, listen. I know you brothers are discussing the deep study. I just jumped on it a little while ago. If you lot give me some time, because I know you're looking to close off. When you lot do have some time, just to discuss a little bit about the Kemet philosophy, about what we were discussing about the sun, etc. Let me put my 2 pieces, and then maybe me and you, or maybe me and Gabz can discuss it a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool. Whenever you're ready.
Do you want to do it now or later?
Unless anybody else has something to say. Hey, I see that your mic keeps going on mute. Did you have anything to say? I don't know your name, but your mic is on mute and your symbol is an A. If not, I'm going to mute your mic and I'm going to get Raza in if nobody else doesn't have anything to say. 3, 2, 1, mute. All right, go ahead, Raza.
All right, cool. My brothers, I hope everyone's well. Good to see you lot. See you lot getting deep in this Kemetic thing is good, man. Let all the brothers know what's going on. It's always good to educate. So listen, brothers, like I say, brother, I've been introduced to Kemeticism through you brothers in the park, innit? So I've learned bits in here, little bits and snippets from what your discussions, etc. And the thing is, like you lot saying, and I hold on to a very important principle in that if you don't know a subject, you shouldn't speak about it. Generally, I've always been taught that, meaning, if you don't know a subject or you haven't studied the subject, you shouldn't really speak about it, in terms of you shouldn't really, you can ask questions about it and learn about it, but you can't really derive opinions and start critiquing generally a subject if you don't know it. So I'm not in no real stance to critique anyone's philosophy or anyone's ways of life in regards to Kemeticism, because I don't know enough about it. However, in terms of what you lot were discussing in the park with the Kalam and Gabz and the whole issue of the nature aspect, I found that very interesting. Yeah. So anyone that want to jump in when I'm speaking about this after I've made my point, feel free, and we can go back to back a little bit about it, just so that I can compare it from what I know. Now, from what I can see in the argument that was built, you have nature, you have the sun, you have plants, you have air, you have the way humans are grown, you have you have insects, all of these kind of, you could say, the product of nature. From what I could see, the argument being told was that with those natural things and that aspect of nature, that itself is like a reflection of God. That is showing you that God exists. Now, is the question this? Is that showing you God exists? Or is that, in a sense, God itself? So the sun, example, the sun, you lot gave a good point. The sun shines on everyone, unconditionally. The sun, if the sun doesn't shine on a specific person or a specific community, we cannot live. The sun is the essence of life. True?
Yeah.
So without the sun, we can't live. So now the sun shines on everyone, yeah? Agreed. And it doesn't discriminate. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, Muslim, non-Muslim, it shines. So I get that angle now. Now, is the argument that the sun is the essence, meaning the sun is the actual thing that you could say is God? Or would you say that God has put that in the sun so that we can all live? Do you get what I'm trying to say to you? Are you seeing God in nature, or are you saying nature is God?
Okay, I'll have to answer this first, please, Carl.
Go for it.
Okay, now this is the thing, because the question, what I would say to you is, all these things that you've explained in nature, like you said about the sun, you said, your question was, did God put that in the sun? Now, we would say to you, first and foremost, where is this? What is this God? What is the God? And can you show me that he put this in the sun? Like, where can we see that he put this in the sun? You see what I'm saying? Because the thing is, and that's the main thing that people are getting confused of, because it's people mention the creator, and then they say, which one is it? Is God the creator, or is God the ultimate creator? Which one is it? Because people say, they love to say the creator, or it's the creator, he's the one that created creation. And then you say God.
Yeah, true.
People have different perspective on what God is. Do you see what I'm saying? So when you say God, it could be a vast array of things. Now, when you're talking about the creator, and I've brought this topic up, said this topic up a few times. Like for me personally, because of my view of nature, when you say creator, especially a supreme creator, I always ask, do you see, because first we have to use nature, what we see, because if the creator says use the sign and symbols to know who I am, I'll go to the signs and the symbols. So in nature, Raza, do you see one supreme creator in nature?
Do I see one creator? No, I wouldn't say I see a creator. Like, it's a hard question. Gabz, you mean, do I see by nature? Do I see a reflection of God? Do I see, wow, this is amazing?
No, not even that. Not even that. Just simply, do you see a supreme creator, like an ultimate creator above all, one creator above all in nature? Do you see that?
It's hard. If you mean, Gabz, if you mean by that do I see a perfect system of nature coming together to, literally work perfect? Yes. Only in that angle, I see it as. It's just too perfect.
Not even like that. See, you're still going into a perfect. No, what I'm trying to say is, listen to what I'm saying. So in nature, do you see, so nature as in animals, insects, human beings, do you see one supreme creator in nature? So hence, like, obviously a creator of an anthill is an ant. The creator of a bird's nest is a bird. Yeah, and so on. Yeah, the creator of a jacket is a human being. Yeah, or many human beings.
True.
So what I'm trying to say,
like that. Okay,
in that same nature, do you see one supreme creator? One. That's
no,
above.
not in the perspective you just put it as, not like that. No.
Okay, then. So then now, if this is the nature where we're supposed to see the signs of God, we're supposed to see God in it, and this is God's sign. You see God's sign, and you know that God exists by looking at nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
But or you know that there's a creator by looking into nature. You need to understand nature to know that there's a creator. In the same very nature, which he said you will know there is a creator, like you just said, you don't see one supreme creator. You see many. So then my question is, why is it that people are coming to this conclusion that there is one supreme creator, whereas in the very nature, you don't see this one supreme creator, which God says you're going to see the signs of him in the same nature. You don't see I tell you the one thing that you do see. I'll show you the one thing that you do see, and I think this is what people have got confused, and this is what Sarah would like. The only one thing that all the creators in nature have in common
is
the only one thing they all have in common is the energy and the will to create. Because if they all don't have that energy to get up and create, or strive or push themselves to go and do something, it's not going to get done. So henceforth, if you don't wake up in the morning and decide that you want to go make breakfast, you're not going to eat. Yeah, if a bird doesn't have the will to create a bird's nest, it's not going to have a home or a place to lay its eggs. If an ant doesn't have the will to get up and create an anthill, the anthill is not going to get done. There's no home. So that's the only thing that is one. But the creators, there's many. So this is the argument I always bring up when people always say there's one supreme creator. You don't see that in nature. You just don't see it. The only thing you do,
you know what it is, Gab? Do you know what it is, Gab? I think it goes back to, you know, the original question you said to me, and that makes sense. It goes down to how you're looking at it. So if the way you've just looked at it, you said, yeah, listen, a bird nest is made by a bird. A house is made by a human. A flower is impollinated by a bee. Meaning, all of these things, if you look at them individually like that, of course you're going to say, listen, the bee's doing that, the bird's doing that. How am I seeing one creator? Of course, if you look at it from that lens, I agree. But then, if you look at, because remember, it's all about your foundation of how you looked at it in the first place. If then the other person says, okay, I'm going to look at it in this way, where I see it as these are all different creatures, they're all organized creations, everything is organized, and it's too organized. Everything has a will. Everything's been given a specific power. Everything's been given a specific role in society. And all of that has then come from one creator who's organized it. So it depends how you looked at it. Do you get, Gabz?
So you said what? You said all one being, all one creator has organized it.
Exactly. That, because in reality, you're right. There's different job roles. There's different qualities that all of these different things have, and they all do different things. However, it could be argued and said, yeah, they all do different things, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's more than one creator, or there's one, I don't use that word, but there's more than one, entity that's organizing it. You could still say there's different functions, but there's still one entity who has originally created them and given them this will and power, because the will and the power, like example of the sun, Gabz, you're right. The power of the sun is there, and without the sun, we cannot live. And it is a very important part of the way, it's without the sun, there is nothing. But the point is the whole aspect of who gave that sun its power and its will. Because
if I could someone maybe interject there.
Go.
Apologies for interrupting. I was just listening in. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, bro. Go.
Right, cool. So I'm looking at it from a logical, mathematical perspective in regards to creators or creator. Now, if there was a multitude of creators, somebody must have created those creators.
True.
The bottom line is everything starts from one. So one must have been created first. You can't create. I'm assuming you don't believe that 4 or 5 were created at one go, in one instance. So the whole thing of God existing outside of time and stuff like that, I would kind of look at that and interpret that as truth, because if you know anything about space and the universe and stuff like that, the further you go out in space, the further you move away from time.
True.
Earth time doesn't affect you. This is physics, astrophysics. And so therefore that understanding, if you interpret that into a creator aspect, then the creator lives outside of time, because outside of the universe, the edges of the universe, time as we know it does not exist. So I would second that. I would say that in my understanding, there can only be one creator.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna answer that question now. Watch this. You said that there's gonna be some creator that doesn't exist within. He doesn't exist within our time and our space. Yeah,
that's right.
Not in our time and space. But then hold on. In our time and space. In our time and space. In our nature.
Understanding of time.
In our understanding of time and space. So in our understanding of time, and space, in our nature, you know what one is, right?
Sorry, say again.
In our time and space, in our nature, you understand what the number one is, right?
Yes.
Okay. So explain to me how you understand outside of our time and nature, what the number one is. Is your number one, which is in our time and space, which you understand, the same as the number one that is outside of time and space?
Well, okay, I see what you're saying. So I see what you're asking. You're asking our concept of one may be different to the concept of one that is outside time.
Not maybe, bro. Not maybe. It is, because if you're inside time and space and you can comprehend what one is, how are you going to comprehend one of the supreme being, which is outside time and space?
And that's a very fair argument, and
All right then.
I would agree with that, because if we can't understand, if we can't conceptualize time outside of the universe, then we can't conceptualize anything outside of the universe. Or sorry, not outside the universe, outside of our time.
All right then.
Further out in space. So that is a valid agreement, you know.
And that's why, and hence why, I'll tell you why. And this is why I say, when it comes to the forms of creators, yeah, there is many creators, regardless, and they all live in harmony, because we here. There's many different creators. There's been creators on the planet from the beginning of nature, all different things created. Yeah. So the only one thing that we can say is one.
Yes.
Yeah, is the energy and the will to do.
Okay,
that's
right. I class that energy as the creator, as God. If there is a God, I believe that to be the God.
Yeah, because sometimes,
you said that. Okay, now that would make sense. Now, if you said that energy, you think that energy is God.
Yes.
I can kind of hear what you're saying, but then when you say that energy is the creator, and when you're dealing with creator, that's when I kind of because I don't see the one supreme creator. I see many.
Gabz.
Hence why God says, hence why even God even says he's the best of creators. What other creators? What's he the best of?
Well, I'm just trying to break it down into a logical way that I can.
No, you're right. No, you know, Robert. One thing, Robert. One thing, you know, in terms of God, you said that verse, the best of creators. It's like God. Like what, Gabz? What if it was put to you like this in terms of the understanding of that verse? God is the only independent creator. So when I have a baby, or I then create something, I work on something and I do something, you can say from a majazi metaphorical point of view, I created that because God's given me that power and will to do that. But I'm still dependent on him. So yeah, I am a creator in that sense, Gabz, but I'm still dependent on the Most High. So yeah, you can call me a creator if you want, but obviously I'm still dependent on a higher being.
Gabz.
Let's go Kemet Philosophy 101 if I can real quick. And everybody, let's put forth the philosophies right after the Islamic, the Christian, and if we got Sikhs or whatever on here. Let's be clear. Laid in papyrus, it says the 8 were your first manifestation. Until you completed these, you being single, secret was your body among the elders, and you kept yourself hidden as Amun at the head of the Netcharu. Amen also describes himself as the innards of everything. It says that his body is all things, so no one knows Amen's true form. Plutarch also confirms this. So does not Cicero, but one of the other Greek dudes. But several of our Ramet Sesh confirm this as well. So we know that the reason you're not ever going to know what Amen is in full is because you can never ever visualize everything at once.
Yes, I can understand what you're saying.
Right. You can't even see outside your own universe, let alone if there's more universes outside of this one, right?
That's that. Okay, so look, I look at it like this, okay? So I break everything down so I can understand very simply and very logically, okay? Clearly, I'm not as well versed in Kemet as you guys, but I look at it like this. How many creators can create one thing? Do you understand? So if I was to make a statue, I'm making a statue. Can't 4 or 5 people make the same statue? You understand?
Exactly.
So in regards to the creator,
are the base of every one.
It's not creators, it's creator. So
well, helium and hydrogen are the base of what? And there's 2 of those, right?
Yes.
They're the base of everything.
Yes.
That's your periodic table.
No, but the one thing is multitudes. It's like a human body has 2 arms and 2 legs. It's still one body. It's not a multitude of bodies. You know what I mean?
And they're all made up of what? Dark energy and dark matter. But they all are animated with the soul. Otherwise, they wouldn't move around. They wouldn't live. Because we know there's a difference between something that's dead, not functioning, and something that's physically moving.
Right, as I understand it, I don't think dark matter has been found yet. So I don't know.
Well, you look at it every night. So if we talk on the quantum physics level, a quantum body is what inhabits a physical being. So if a quantum body is inside your physical being and it leaves, then it's dead. But dark energy and dark matter coincide together. They say the dark matter looks similar to a web. They're just having they find it in the space collider. When they smash the particles together, the portions spread apart, but they don't go towards the dark matter area.
Large Hadron Collider. My cousin is a physicist, and he works there. And
you know,
yeah, but the existence of dark matter has yet to be. It's theorized, but yet to be found.
Not found, but put a full theory on what it's composed of. Because they found it.
Oh yes, if they
right.
They haven't, well, yeah.
Anyway,
let's get away from the subject. Go ahead.
I went to the school of Tokyo with Dr. Moriyama. That's my teacher.
Okay.
Gabz, are you there?
Yeah.
I'd like you to search up this concept that we have called Wahdat al-Wujud, or unity of being, or unity of oneness.
Okay.
And see how that correlates with your Kemetic philosophy, and relate back to us like whenever you get time, because I think that is very, if not the same, so to speak, with the paradigm that the Kemetic.
Okay. My main thing is this, yeah. At the end of the day, yeah. If there's a being that's outside time and space, yeah. You know, there's a being outside time and space, and we have the understanding of what one is in our time and space. You can't clearly tell me that being's one is the same as our one. Our one is not going to be the same.
Definitely not. That is something that is very logical. In fact, I've never thought of it like that. But as you said, we can't conceptualize what time is outside of the universe. So how can we conceptualize anything? So what you're saying is quite possible.
Yeah. So then now that's
back to that point, Gabz. Back to that point that you said, yeah, and Baba Buddha made a good point, and you said about the one. If I could just quickly go back to the basic about the sun. So if Gabz, if I was to make the argument, or if I was to make the point to you and say all of these things, because it's just about the way you're looking at things. If I'm looking at the sun, I'm looking at humans, I'm looking at plants, I'm looking at vegetation, and I'm be able to see God's plan and God's sign in all of those things. Now, you see, I don't want to really use the term because sometimes the word creator or God throws people off. Let's just say I'm looking at that one entity who's organized all of this. Is that not something that someone, is that not?
Is that what?
Is that not something that you could see as well? Where if you look at if you're looking at it from the angle, is that not something where you could understand and be like, I can see where someone would look at it from that way as well?
Well, I don't know if I personally, just to answer your question, I know it's to Gabz, but
yeah, go on.
I personally don't see that everything is created necessarily by that one creator. All it takes is a domino effect. So if the creator needs just to create water, and from water you'll get everything else. Do you understand? That's just
I was more talking about the more natural type of things, like, you know, not the stuff that generally we create, but I'm talking about, you see the ones that are like there's a complete system. Like the sun's a good example, because the sun is not just, oh, it comes up, it comes down. The sun is very organized. It's a very organized type of system.
But this is the law of nature. This is the law of nature. So
and that's why, and then we go back to nature and we say, but then who's the one who's organized that nature and organized it and put it all together? Or did it just come like that?
Personally, I don't think it's all organized and put together. The law of nature. If I drop a glass on the water on the floor, the water's not going to hit the ceiling; it's going to hit the floor. Do you understand? So that is the law of nature. That's gravity. So gravity helps gravity is in charge of the Earth orbiting the sun, etc., etc., etc. But the one thing that is created is
there has to be some sort of organization, though. There has to be someone.
Can I ask that question now, Raza? Yeah. What I was going to say is, for one, you can't use the sun to see. You can't use the sun as what you was explaining with God being outside time and space. You know why? Because, like you just said, God's oneness is outside time and space. So you understand this oneness outside time and space. with God. But in nature, like I just said, yeah, the creators are many. There's vast. So you don't just see one sun. You see in our nature, in our time and space, there's billions of sun, yeah, which create the same effect, like you said, to their planets, to their environment, or whatever they do on their planets. So you see many of those, and many of those will be seen as, you know, the creators. You don't just see the one supreme one, do you? You see billions. So then now, when it comes to this whole concept of this one supreme, is there one supreme sun, yeah, in our time and space?
No, there's loads, isn't there?
Exactly. Yeah, but this is my point. So then this is my point now. You don't see this oneness, this great one supreme being. So if you don't see it in our nature, how is it we're trying to allude that this one supreme thing, we're going to be able to see it outside time and space? And why are we going to meaning what? It's one, the same one that we
what was that last point that you're trying to say? If you're trying to say there's more than one sun, does that negate that there's not one person who created all the suns? Is that what you're saying?
No, but how you no, yeah. So I'm gonna say, how are you gonna negate that it's one person that created all these billions of suns if you see that these one suns are like you said, these suns are having an effect on their planet. Each of these suns, and there's billions. There's big suns, there's small suns, there's suns that are 1,000 times, 10 times bigger than our sun. There's even systems that have
you know what it is, Gabz. I think the general Islamic argument. Oh, sorry, go on, Gabz.
I was going to say there's even systems in our universe that there's binary. That means there's two suns, yeah, that harbor a system. So how are you going to explain that? If there's two suns now that are harboring a system, how are you going to explain that same thing that you're explaining about the effect of the one sun on our planet? Because now there's two suns that's affecting.
Yeah, let me come back on that. You see, I think the argument, for me anyway, when a lot of Muslims put forward this argument, from our understanding, it's not necessarily based on the aspect that there's only one sun. The aspect's not necessarily that. It's about reflecting on what you have in front of you, regardless if there's 10 suns or one suns. The point is the sun's functionality and what you're getting from it, the system and the system of the sun and the way it moves and the way it's structured. What we're trying to say is it's so perfect that there has to be someone behind it. Now, then we can go into the secondary argument and say, how many creators are there now? That's a secondary argument. But the first point of argument is that clearly there is someone on top of it who has clearly structured everything. How many people structured it? We can debate that as a secondary. Are you with me?
Okay, I hear that. But when you say that it's perfect, from what perspective are you looking at that? You're saying it's perfect because for an entity that lives on the planet Mars or Venus or Mercury, and Mercury or the other planets that are closer to the sun, where their atmosphere is just straight toxic and pollution, are they going to be saying, oh well, this environment, this is perfect for us? You see what I'm saying? Someone that lives on Pluto, that lives very far from the sun, that the temperatures are at minus, who knows, 1,000.
My rebuttal to that would be is that is based on someone living there and having to live in those circumstances. Do we know if someone lives there or not?
But this is what I'm saying. No, we don't. We don't know.
But that argument would be speculative at most. Meaning we know.
I like to point into Gabz and Gabz. Do you know reality with a capital R? On this ontological reality we have with a capital R. This is what we'd say would be one. This reality. This is this being. This what is right now. This ontology is one. Like for example, the best way I could describe it is, light. Okay, light, like physical light or something. This is one single invisible reality. But however, in this light, we have a spectrum through which everything are perceived, all colors, shapes, objects are perceived. So we wouldn't say that each spectrum is the light itself, but we wouldn't say it is not the light as well. There's neither there's a reality with a capital R is one, so to speak. I've sent a link outlining what I'd say would be the Islamic doctrine, which is similar to Kemetic philosophy, on the chat.
Okay.
So let me quickly bring it up, family. I definitely want to close down the show. Yeah, I'm not going to front with you. I am mad tired. Yeah, I've been twisted. I just simply want to close down the show. I want to close down the show very soon, and please, everybody, mute your mics, please. Mute your mics. To close on the show real soon so I can actually lie down in bed, listen to this conversation and fall asleep to it. So I'm going to quickly bring up this information. So right here, we've got like a Sufi, I think it's Ibn Arabi. You know, we brought this up before on one of our shows to do with the oneness of God, or the true, you know, the true Tawheed. We will say the true Tawheed. Or the Kemetic understanding of Tawheed, I would say, would align very closely with this. It says here, Wahdat al-Wajud. Please correct me with my Arabic, Joe. And it says here, the unity of being, the doctrine formulated by the school of Ibn al-Arabi, which postulates that God and his creation are one, since all that is created pre-existed in God's knowledge and will return to it, making mystical union with God possible. This was a problematic doctrine for legalist interpreters of Islam, such as the Wahhabis, who held to a strict interpretation of Tawheed that did not permit anyone or anything to be associated or in union with God. Interesting. Very interesting right there. So again, I just want to quickly, you know, give my quick understanding of what we're talking about. To be honest with you, I don't have much of a problem with my Islamic understanding. I understand it, to be honest with you. So, for example, in Kemet, we have a principle of God being both transcendent and immanent, okay? Both being transcendent and immanent. In African philosophy as a whole, we do have the concept, again, of this dualistic dichotomy nature of God, i.e. being transcendent, outside of what is perceptible by our senses, and also immanent, that which is perceptible by our senses. Earlier on today, I made mention of this. I actually made mention on this when I broke down, you know, the Kemetic understanding when we're talking about nature or divine principles. Okay, when we're talking about divine principles, we have number one, which is like one or this one. Yeah, let me do this. One, you have one, the metaphysics. Okay, the metaphysics, i.e., the divine principle itself. It is something that is only understandable inside of the intelligible realms. What I mean by the intelligible realms, it is only perceivable via your intellect. Okay, we talk about seeing visions or having clarity of vision, and this is inner sight. Okay, we hold that you cannot see God, i.e., the divine principle, via your eyes. It's actually impossible to see the divine principle via your eyes, in one sense. Don't hold me on that, because I might say something that's contradictory, but just hold on to me for that. So you have the divine principle. So a divine principle could be something like creator. It could be something like light. It could be something like love. It can be something like balance. It could be something like truth. Okay, these are all concepts that we hold and we intellectualize. Okay, and the better we have more knowledge about these things, the clearer we can see what it is. But it's only really grasped inside of your mind. It's a concept itself. Okay, then we have, as I said before, we create or construct mythologies and symbols and allegories and you know, all sorts to attach to it. That's the second understanding of it. Most people would understand. Most people that I would say that belong to the religious schools, you know, really home in onto the mythological side of things. Most people that hold on to a philosophical side hold on to the divine principles. Okay. You know, when he's there, that's what we deal with. But then we carry on going. Then these divine principles manifests themselves within inside of the sensible realm. Sensible realm, that which we can perceive via our eyes, our literal eyes, our nose, our taste buds, our ears, our touch. You know, all of our sense, we can be able to perceive ourselves. For it's in the sensible realm. So these divine principles manifest themselves, i.e., when we're talking about Ra, i.e., the creator, the life giver, the father, and so forth. Yeah, we see that as the S-U-N. We see it as the S-U-N. And then we also have it manifesting in the terrestrial plane, i.e., on the ground level. Okay, and we see that as being us in terms of our consciousness. Our mind itself is the principle of Ra. Okay, and the great thing about it in Kemet, we have something which is like it's actually it's not even unique to Kemet. It's kind of like a lot of African philosophies and religions does this. We deal with synchronism or fusion. Okay, synchronism or fusion. Where we literally, when we're talking about Ra, we literally, when we say Ra, we identify all of those four things in our minds, like, and we cause this fusion of oneness to take place. Okay, so anytime we're saying Ra, we're talking about all of those things because it's all working all at the same time together. So that's that. But let's just backtrack, because from religious standpoint, the divine principle or the mythology comes first. But really and truly, from a Kemetic standpoint, yeah, we do this. We literally go first. We investigate nature, i.e. the physical nature. We go internally to investigate, know thyself. So we know in our mind and so forth. We know the Ra principle via our mind. We now go through to the, nature itself or the universe itself, the mysteries of the universe. And we can see the Ra principle in nature. And then we now go into metaphysics and philosophize. And now we have the idea of the divine principle, because we realize that these things, although it exist, okay, it first must exist inside of the etheric plane or in the realms of the intelligible realm. Okay, what's the theory behind it that causes all this to be? And that's how we kind of progressed upwards. Whereas religion went the other way downwards, like God told me this, rather than finding out what God is telling you. So a lot of times you can find the same principle that I'm talking about, or the same structure or methodology. You'll find it in the Quran itself. When you go to Ibrahim, okay, Ibrahim, he went through the same process. He went through the terrestrial plane and the idols at first. Then he said, nope, this is not my Lord. Then he went to the celestial planes and started intellectualizing about, the planets and the moon and the sun and all them things there. And they said, nope, okay, I've seen that. That's not my Lord. And he kept going until he can elevate his mind beyond the physical plane and the celestial, or the material plane and the celestial plane. And he was able to break the barrier and transcend and be able to hold things in his mind intellectually and intellectualize about God itself. So I'm hearing the conversations, and I agree with both sides of the conversations. It's just that we're both coming from different paradigms. One is looking at it from a religious point of view, and one is looking at it from a philosophical point of view of knowing nature and knowing God. Therefore, you'll know God. And brother asked a question earlier on about whether, the creation is there for us to know God, or is the creation God? And I would say both. Okay, the creation is for us to know God. And then you'll realize that the creation itself is a manifestation of God. So, for example, I know in the Quran or in the Hadiths, you learn about rainwater being the mercy from Allah. So that's literally the rahmah of Allah. So the rahmah from Allah and the Rahman, Allah is called Al-Rahman, and the rain is his rahmah. So in order for you to know Al-Rahman, you needed first to know Rahmah, which is the rain, the mercy that came forth. So it's the same type of conceptualization. We know God via knowing nature. That's the only way we know God. And I remember bringing this up time ago. Let me see if I can quickly share my screen. Unfortunately, I apologize if I'm talking too much. I'm tired yet again. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. We have the same concept. This is like a Hanafiya concept or a Kemetic concept or a Sabian concept right here, which is know thyself. You'll know the mysteries of the universe, and then you'll know God. Over here in Surah 41:53. Is that Fussilat? I can't remember. I believe it's Fussilat. Don't hold me on that. I can't remember. It says here, we will show them our signs in the horizons, i.e., via the universe, nature itself, or the outward universe, and within inside themselves. Okay, this is knowing yourselves, the internal universe, until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. But it is not sufficient concerning your Lord that he is over all things a witness. Okay, so first of all, here the Quran teaches you to know nature or know the universe right here. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within inside themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. What is the truth? What is al-haq? Allah itself. but it's not sufficient concerning your Lord that he is over all things a witness. So again, yeah. In the Quran, it teaches you to look at nature. Okay, look at nature, and then you will know God. That's the only way you're gonna know God, by actually looking into nature. All right, cool. I've talked enough. If anybody would like to correct me, come in and correct me.
Kalam, after the video, can you go to private chat? I send you something.
All right.
I just wanted to add from the Christian standpoint real quick. Ephesians 1:23, it tells you, and the church is his body. It is made full and complete by Christ, who fills all things everywhere within himself. Or in another verse, it says, and God put everything under his feet and made him head over everything for the church, which is his body, the fullness of him who fills all in all. So the all is in all, and all are the all, which is also a Ramet's teaching as well. But you have it right there in Christians in Ephesians 1:23.
I'm with you. Kalam, in terms of what you were saying, so sorry, Baba, are you finished now? Or?
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, Kalam, in terms of what you were saying, who opened that up? Is that you, Kalam?
Yeah.
Who's got that open? Is that you, Kalam?
Yeah, that's me.
Kalam, I just sent that link, by the way. This is exactly what I was going to say to you. This is a for all the brothers. I think, especially in regards to your conversation on Speaker's Corner, I really want you lot to check this book out. It's called The Tradition of Mufaddal. Mufaddal was a famous companion of our sixth Shia Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. So he was his famous companion. And what he done was he had a debate, I think, with someone who was an atheist. Just check it in the prologue. And then he actually came to the Imam and said, Imam, I've had this debate, and I want to learn about God through nature. So what Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam done was he spoke about all of these things, exactly the angle, what you lot are trying to say in terms of the sun, the insects, the animals, the humans, and he's gone through everything, and he's basically highlighted how you can see in them. Now, I'm not trying to say that they're God, but rather what I'm trying to say is, and what Imam Jafar Sadiq is trying to say is that basically by looking at them, like Kalam made a very good point about the rain, that of course rain's not God, but however, a rain you can see by the rahmah, you can see the representation of rain. When you see it, you can see God in it in a metaphorical way. That's what it means, and that's what generally, obviously, the Wahdatul Wujud one's a bit different, and you're right, some scholars do and believe in that, and that's probably closest to your line of thought. However, that book clears with this issue nicely, and you'll literally be able to see all the argumentation, and it's got a whole chapter for the sun as well. So, brothers, make sure you don't check that out, man. It'll really benefit you lot, because you'll see in a different way, and that's Imam Jafar Sadiq, who is the great grandson of the Prophet, and he's our sixth Imam.
Honestly, I just think the main problems you find is with a thug Islamic encounter at the park, because with people like myself, I don't really see much difference at all between the Kemetic philosophy and the Orthodox Sunni paradigm. Anyway, I just want to quickly mention one of the contemplative practices we have, which actually outlines exactly what Kalam says, but you have the terrestrial plane, and then you move up the ladder to the intelligible realm, etc. So what one of the things they say is La ma'buda illallah, there's no deity except for God. So that's the terrestrial plane. Then after you go La maqsuda illallah, there's no purpose except for this one, except for the divine. Thereafter it goes La mashhuda illallah, there's nothing we see except for the divine. Thereafter the last step is La mawjuda illallah, there's nothing in existence other than the divine.
All right, so we've got my brother coming in all the way from Australia. What's good?
Assalamu alaikum, boys. Assalamu alaikum to the panel.
Walaikum salam, King.
Walaikum salam.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, brother, we can hear you, man.
That's good. That's good. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. I'll just what I've noticed in the last 20 years of the Salafi movements, and I'm gonna start. I was born in Afghanistan, and I noticed that Salafis coming from Saudi Arabia preaching in mosques and putting the Shia and Sunni together. Like When I lived in Afghanistan, I didn't know there was such thing as Salafi. You know what I mean? There was only Sunni or Shia. And we had the Ashura. The Sunni brothers used to come and help us and do the Ashura with us. And then Salafi Wahhabis came from Saudi Arabia, start preaching, dividing us. And came to Australia in 98. And there was Sunni, Shia. There was no such thing as long beards and shaved moustache. This just came after September 11. And the movement, like, this movement is like basically to try to control people. That's what it is. That's what I've noticed in the last 20 years of with the movement. I had 2 Iranian friends. They were Shia. They start going to, you know, madrasas in Australia. We got some madrasas that do preaching. And so basically what they can do, the Wahhabi movement, is to change the ex-Dragatic, the ex-Christian. They can't change the people that are already in Islam, but they can control the young kids. So like if you're an ex-drug dealer, you want to change your life, they can control you. Like for instance, I've been watching the, what is it, the corner, what do you guys call it?
Speaker's Corner. Speaker's Corner.
Speaker's Corner. Speaker's Corner. That like African brother, what's his name? Zakaria, yeah? See, Zakaria came from an African background, from a Christian to Muslim. They can control him to do, because he becomes like a weapon now. You know what I'm trying to say? He's a weapon for this. Yeah, exactly right. He's basically, he's going to do whatever they tell him to do. So it's a brainwashing. Like, my mates, the Iranis, they got brainwashed. They went from being Shia to 10 Salafi. One time I met him in a restaurant. They wouldn't even shake my hands because I wasn't in their, you know, in that kind of way. So their way is to control the ex-drug addicts, ex-gangsters. They're the only ones that will become the extremists. That's why they have the attitude of like gangsters and trying to be standover.
Exactly what you're saying. Kalam made a nice video today about this.
They do the same thing.
Yeah. In Australia, I know they're quite harsh in Australia. Kalam made a nice 2-minute clip. Kalam, I'm not going to take up too much time because I know I can see your eyes, bro. You're bare tired. I can see it in you, bro. I'm sorry, Kalam. But Kalam made a nice video about this too, like literally earlier today. But I just want all the non-Muslims to know, wallahi, what you man are dealing with, just keep one thing in mind. Us man been dealing with this for 1400 years. Exactly, you man are still new in it. You man are still seeing. You lot have had a little couple experiences in Speaker's Corner, and you are seeing how deep the rabbit hole goes. But trust me, brothers, the rabbit hole goes a lot deeper, and the Shia are the perfect people to understand these people, because these are the same people who butchered the Prophet's grandson 1400 years ago. So we've been dealing with the oppression for 1400 years. You lot are still new goers.
Prophet's grandsons. 1 second.
Say that again.
Which Salafi Sunni butchered the Prophet's grandson?
It's the ideology. It's the ideology, my brother.
You said these people butchered them. Who butchered?
I'll tell you why. Yazid, the person who's butchered them, the Salafi scholars endorse Yazid. They don't condemn him. Tell me which Salafi scholar. Tell me which Salafi scholar like Ibn Taymiyyah done takfir on Yazid.
No. What's endorsement? Tell me.
Endorsement is not condemning and doing takfir on him.
Not condemning him is not endorsement.
Because if you're not going to condemn him and do takfir on him, what are you doing?
That doesn't mean you're endorsing him, though.
Of course you are, because if you're a follower of that, because in reality they take Yazid as someone as the same concept. Don't rebel against the Emir. Where's that from? Yazid. This concept of you can't go against the ruler is again. Say again.
It's from the Prophet.
No, it's not. That's a made-up concept.
No, it's not.
Who told you can't rebel against the ruler? That's a made-up concept. Because they use that. Okay, I'll give you an example. If that was the hadith of the Prophet, why did Imam Hassan go against Yazid?
Each story has his details, but I'm saying
no. You just attribute it to the Prophet. Tell me why Imam Hassan went against Yazid.
If I can prove to you the ahadith and the things of the Prophet.
No. Look at the content, brother. Forget the content. Forget the content of the hadith. Imam Hassan practically went against it. So it shows you that hadith's made up. Otherwise, the Prophet's grandson would have known that hadith better than me and you.
Listen, Imam Hassan, when he went against them, or when he did go against the leader at the time, what was their opinion of, for example, Ibn Abbas and those that are amongst him, the companions that are amongst him?
I'm talking about the Prophet's family right now. I'm not talking about Ibn Abbas. Imam Hassan opposed him. Imam Hassan opposed Yazid, yes or no? Because when he opposed him, he should have known that hadith as well. True?
But is he infallible?
Forget. Okay, I'll go forward with you. Look at after Imam Hussein. Imam Zayd. Imam Zayd opposed the government. Imam Zayd opposed the government. Imam Muhammad Nafs Zakiya opposed the government. There's so many descendants of the Prophet's family that opposed the government. It shows you practically that the Prophet's family never believed in this rule that you can't rebel. What kind of a principle is that? If there's a corrupt man, you can't rebel against him. That is a man-made concept to control you.
I'm asking you, Hassan radiallahu anhu, when you're saying that he rebelled, I'm saying at his time, what did the companions do? And is he infallible?
Well, the Prophet's family are correct in what they do. He would know the prophetic stance better than the companions, yes or no?
Is he infallible?
Yeah, of course he is.
Maybe that's your belief. I don't believe he's infallible.
Yeah, but it's not really important if he's infallible, to be honest. The point is that the Prophet's family never believed this principle that you believe in.
It is important because then that will say you can make a mistake. You're saying that he's infallible.
No, so hold on. Are you trying to say that Imam Hussein made the mistake by going against Yazid then?
But I'm saying that he's not infallible. That's what I'm saying.
But you saying that, are you trying to say that he was wrong against going against Yazid?
And I'm just saying to you, he's not infallible. But I would like to look at what
No, but you've said it in a context. Because when I said to you he went against Yazid, you straight away said he's infallible, and you tried to say that the Sahaba advised against him. Listen to what I'm trying to say. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you, my brother. That concept that you can't go against the ruler is a man-made concept to control you. How can the Prophet tell you not to go against a corrupt ruler? The Prophet said if someone's corrupt, yeah, go on.
Can I ask you a question? So if it's proven that these hadith, these sayings of the Prophet ﷺ are authentic,
it doesn't matter because even if you prove to me from a son, I agree with what you're trying to say. Even if you prove to me from a Sunnah point of view that they are authentic, practically the Prophet's family went against them. So for me, that's enough because practice is more because that's why you have a school of Imam Malik in Medina. The practice of the people of Medina.
That's the problem, Akhi, because you believe.
Can I ask you a question?
Are infallible. That's what you believe.
No, not even the infallibility concept. I'll give you an example. Imam Malik's principle is what? You take the opinion of the people of the school of Medina. It doesn't matter if you receive a text. You've got to look at the content of the text. If the content of the text is problematic, you can reject it. You can't just be like, oh, the hadith reached me and they say I have to follow it. There's a lot of stuff in the hadith, my brother. You can't take everything on face value.
If a hadith is authentic and it's proven with its sanad and it's proven that's authentic, you can take it.
Imam Malik still rejected it.
But no, but of course, Imam Malik rejected what?
He rejected Sahih hadith that reached him with Sahih sanad.
No, but maybe that's from his own opinion after searching.
So we have that same opinion. We say it's not about the sanad. We say look at the practicality. If the Prophet's I'll give you an example. When the Prophet's grandson and the Prophet's descendants continue to get martyred by these rulers time and time again, did they not know this hadith?
I didn't say they didn't.
No, but that's what I'm trying to say to you. It means that either they went against the Prophet or the hadith false.
Each story, or each occurrence of what occurred has its details. We can't just blanket and say, oh, didn't they?
No, but they went against the ruler. I agree with what you're saying. It's true. I respect that. There are details. However, the basic crux of the issue is they went against the ruler. So they did not accept the ruler.
So because they went against the ruler or in that occurrence, with that reason or whatever occurred, you make it a blanket thing where everyone can go against the ruler whenever they want.
No, I'm not saying you have to go against the ruler, but I'm saying this binding of authority where you've got a ruler and it's haram to rebel, we say that's a made-up concept. I'm not saying you have to go and rebel consistently. What I'm trying to say is that principle that the Prophet's family established. This is why Imam Hussein established this principle that this principle is batil. It doesn't exist. How come Ibn Abbas didn't go with him? Ibn Abbas is not hujjah, bro. He's just that's his opinion. It's not a problem.
You're not the family of the Prophet.
This is not the Prophet. This is not the family that the Prophet left for you, bro. No, but Abu Jahl is related to him as well. I'm not talking about just relation. I'm talking about Ahlulbayt, who the Prophet spoke about.
No, but you can't compare Ibn
the Prophet.
You can't compare the two.
No, but I'm trying to say is that if you have someone from the Ahlulbayt, you can't say Ibn Abbas is part of them because the Prophet specified who they were, isn't it?
Related to the Prophet ﷺ, who is known and trustworthy, not Abu Jahl. Someone who the Prophet ﷺ made dua.
No, I respect that. But what I'm trying to say is that the Ahlulbayt are a specific set of individuals. Ibn Abbas is not one of the ones who the Prophet said, make sure you follow Ahlulbayt Ibn Abbas after me. The Prophet already defined Ahlulbayt who they were.
So Ahlulbayt is a specific group of people.
Yes. It's a specific group.
I want to ask you that as well.
Yeah, no, Ahlulbayt are a specific group of people.
Yeah, what happened to the rest of Ali radiallahu anhu's sons? What happened to them?
In this, it's the ones who the Prophet included as part of the Ahlulbayt. We've done it, inshallah. Say again?
What happened to, like, for example, Aqil ibn Ali? What happened
to who? Aqil, Aqil, Jafar. Yeah.
What happened to him? Is he not? He's not from.
You know, look, like I've spoke about this previously. By lugha, of course, all of these Ibn Abbas, etc. By lugha, they're all Ahlulbayt. But the ones that the Prophet told you to hold on to are not these people. The ones he told you to hold on to are Ali, Hassan, Hussein, and his descendants, because the Prophet made it clear who the Ahlulbayt are. And I've done a little thing about this. Inshallah, I can tell you about this. There's I've done it on Kalam show where the Prophet specifically defined who the Ahlulbayt were, and he mentioned Ali, Hassan, Fatima, Hussein.
And you're speaking about about the whole cloak.
That's one incident. There's other ones as well. The Prophet, look at Mubaila, when the Prophet went to debate the Christians, he specifically mentioned these 5 people. So we say, yeah, by lugha, you're right. Ibn Abbas, Aqil, they're all Ahlul-Bayt, of course, in a general sense. But when the Prophet told you to stick upon them and follow, it's these specific individuals. So this is what I'm trying to say to you, that this concept of hadith.
So if Ibn Abbas and those that were amongst him from the companions that were there at the time during the occurrence of what happened with Hassan or
Hussein,
how come none of them went forth with him? How come?
The Sahaba not going forth with him is not a measure of who's right.
If they knew the way what you're saying that.
No, I'll tell you that question is valid. No, the question is valid. The Sahaba not necessarily helping Imam Hussein, they are not a scale of what's right and wrong. The scale, this is what I'm trying to say to you. The scale is Hussein, not them. You're putting the scale on the Sahaba. I'll give you an example. Abdullah bin Umar, who's the son of Umar, when Yazid took over, Abdullah bin Umar was like, oh, he said, anyone who rebels against Yazid, there will be distance between me and him. So Abdullah bin Umar was like, we have to follow Yazid. So he was of that opinion that you're trying to talk about. However, Hussein wasn't. So what I'm trying to say to you is that because a Sahabi or some Sahaba didn't follow Imam Hussein in supporting him, that doesn't mean that Hussein's wrong. I say the Sahaba were wrong who didn't support him.
All right, who from the Sahaba supported him?
I don't know, but why is that important?
Then we can measure.
No, you see, exactly. You're measuring it based on. This is what I'm trying to say to you. You're measuring it based on the Sahaba. You should measure it based on what Hussein did.
But hear this. So you're saying that the Prophet said, "Hold on to me, to my Sunnah and Ahlulbayt," and you said specifically these ones. Right. So they would.
Yeah, of course.
Known to stick to Hassan Hussein.
Yeah, they should have stuck to Ahlulbayt. Yes.
So
Say that again, bro. Say that again.
So did they oppose the command?
Oh yeah, of course. Of course it was. If Yazid can kill Imam Hussein, of course it's opposed.
No,
they opposed him.
Is that they didn't support him? How come they didn't support him if the Prophet commanded?
Well, in terms of every individual Sahabi, for whatever reason, they never supported him. We're going to have to go to a detailed lecture of why each Sahabi didn't. But generally, the stance who is correct is the stance of Imam Hussein, because he's the measure, he's the mizan. The Sahaba are not the mizan, because you've got Sahaba with difference of opinion. Because the Prophet left the Ahlul-Bayt, not the Sahaba. Because the Prophet said, I leave for you 2 things, my Quran and my Ahlul-Bayt.
So none of the Sahaba at his time, the ones that were with him at his time, knew nothing about sticking to him. Only us in 2018.
No, everyone after the Prophet's time knew about the Quran and Ahlul-Bayt. If they now chose to oppose him, because hold on, let me give you an example. Abdullah bin Umar, a lot of people say that a lot of Sahaba were forced into, because Yazid killed those same Sahaba, by the way. Yazid invaded Medina and killed 700 Sahaba. You knew that, right?
Yeah.
So because they never opposed Yazid, that doesn't mean they supported him. Some of them could have been forced to not support him. There's different reasons why. It doesn't mean that they opposed Imam Hussein by not helping him. It could have been that they're scared. It could have been.
Exactly. Earlier you said endorsements because they didn't condemn. Look at that.
No. I'm talking about that was not. I never said Sahaba. I said Salafi scholars.
Does that mean
I said Salafi scholars to this day are very funny with Yazid. They don't condemn him. They don't do takfir on him. I'll give you an example. If you talk to a Salafi scholar and you say, what do you say about someone who curses the Sahaba? They say he's a kafir. When you say, okay, how about the one who killed Hussein, Yazid? They say, oh, we shouldn't talk about this. This is problematic, because they've got double policy. If you're going to be consistent in your principle, they need to condemn Yazid, which they don't. Tell me which Salafi scholar have you heard condemn Yazid?
I haven't.
They don't condemn. They don't even call it. They don't even do takfir on Yazid. They try and be funny about Yazid. Do you get it? So what I'm trying to say is that Salafi scholars are funny about this. So my point was, the whole point was, and if I did offend you, I didn't mean to, my brother. If I offended you, my point was that I didn't mean to. So sorry if I did. My point was that in terms of the methodology of these lot, of this extremist type of methodology, it existed from a long time ago. Now I'm not going to necessarily say to you, bro, all Salafis are like that. But there is, like, an example, Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, whether you follow him or respect him, bro, his manhaj, do you know about the sack of Karbala that him and his people done?
Pardon?
Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, after he produced his ideology or whatever he produced, his followers went and sacked Karbala. They sacked it.
His followers went and sacked it.
They sacked it, meaning, yeah, they looted it, they sacked it, they attacked it, and they destroyed everyone in it. Women, children, men. They annihilated us because we're Shia. So what I'm trying to say to you is this methodology is an old methodology. It exists because they feel like they can do this to us. If you, for everyone listening, and you as well, my brother, the sack of Karbala, just write the sack of Karbala, you'll see these lot attacked Karbala and they annihilated, and they stole from the shrine of Imam Hussein as well. They stole from it. So this ideology is existent from a long time ago. It's been coming from Yazid's methodology.
To be honest, I don't know about that story that you're telling me. I'm just listening.
No, just check it. It's a normal. It's not like a little incident. It's quite known in history. It's not like disagreed upon. It's just history. But my point was, yeah, I will clarify because
so Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab and Al Saud,
Muhammad ibn Wahhab and Al Saud, they had a little thing, and I'm not sure if it happened after he passed away, but he was part of it himself. But that whole group that he had started, they sacked, and I know, and I'm pretty sure, 95% sure that Ibn Saud was definitely part of it. They went and sacked Karbala completely, annihilated it. They stole from the shrine of Imam Hussein. They killed women, they killed children, and they annihilated and obliterated. So my point was that, my only point is, yeah, I'm going to make a clarification because it's important. I'm not trying to say all Salafis are like that, of course. However, what I'm going to say to you is that tendency of this aspect is there. Because the people of Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, these lot, they've known to be endorsing these kind of things and promoting it, and they've been doing this for a little while. So yeah, of course, bro. I'm not sure what school you're from, but
as in promoting what? Promoting what?
This extremist ideology.
The ideology? Would you say?
This extremist ideology. They're known to promote it. So I'll give you an example. Muhammad Abdul Wahhab is the one who promoted this extremist ideology where killing, plunging becomes legal. This is why a lot of his followers are extreme. They've done this to the Shia consistently. So when he started this movement and then they've attacked Karbala, they've attacked it based on his narrative that, oh, the Shia kuffar murtadeen, we can take their blood, their women are halal for us. This thinking has come from him.
Where does he say that?
So I'll give you an example. If you look at his books on Kitab al-Tawheed and his movement.
Go to attack the
Okay,
Shia,
watch this.
like that.
No, listen. Someone doesn't have to say attack the Shia for you to attack the Shia. I'll give you an example. If I say this to you, anyone, I'll give you an example. Anyone who believes intercession of anyone is a mushrik. A mushrik's punishment is death. The Shia does intercession. What does that mean?
No, but he didn't. You can't attribute that saying that he's saying go attack the Shia.
No, but do you see my point here? He doesn't have to say you. He doesn't have to say you kill the Shia. But like I said, my example is big enough. They've done the sack of Karbala. That was his movement. I don't really have to go textual evidence. I've got historical, practical evidence that they've done it. As in, I don't have to go far off. Yeah, no, that's not. Inshallah, check it. Inshallah, check it. It's quite famous, bro. Yeah, because they've done this, and the thing is, they've killed us historically. I can bring up loads of battles. And the thing is, if I want to go up before Ibn Taymiyyah, before Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, what I'm trying to say to you is that this theology and practicality was applied by people like Yazid. It was applied for the people that killed Sayyid Zayd. They done the same thing to him. Sayyid Nafs Zakiya. All of these people of Ahlulbayt after Imam Hussein. You know how many people were killed from Ahlulbayt after Imam Hussein? They would listen. Imam Dhahabi narrates that if your name was Ali, they would kill you. There were certain areas in Syria, if your name was Ali, they would kill you.
Wow. All right, family tree. This is what I'm going to say. Because we're going in. We're actually going in, but it's 2:15 in the morning. And I've got an early start. So this is what I would love to do is just round this up right now. With conversation, get twisted. We're just going to go off air. And if you guys choose to carry on, we can carry on off air. So family, let me know how you've been enjoying the show so far. Yeah, man, trust me, bedtime or Rastafari Dante says alhamdulillah. Killing part of nature. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm going to my bed right by now.
I'm gonna watch some Dragon
Ball Z show, 3 hours long. I'm sure it's even touching 4 hours soon. All right, but we have to close down the show. I know it's been awesome. I don't even think I'm going to be able to actually chop up the show tonight. So hopefully tomorrow I'll chop up the show for everybody so you can, have it in different portions. So you're not going to have bite-sized chunks, But yeah, family, I'm going to catch you guys later. And again, you guys know, if you lot want to join any of the shows, all you have to do is either email me, okay, Google plus me, Hangouts me, whatever the case is. We had our brother, calling in from Australia. Came in. I believe he was in from Australia. I came in. He said, "Yo, I want to be part of the show." I said, "Listen, add me, Google Plus, email me." He done his thing, and he's able to come on. So if there's anybody in the comment section that's complaining right now that you haven't had the opportunity to come on, it's not because the opportunity wasn't afforded to you. Is that you didn't take the opportunity yourself. Okay, we always give everybody the opportunity to come on. As you can see here, we've got my Shia brother, we've got my Yazidi brother, we've got my Budha brother, we've got my Kemet brother, we've got Terrence, my British brother, and we've got I believe you are a Sunni Muslim. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But talk to me, King. Yep. We've got a Sunni Muslim here. So we've got all different types of individuals on the panel that's been having their say. So don't say that you're underrepresented. The only reason why you're underrepresented is because you haven't chosen to come on to the panel itself. We always give everybody the opportunity to come on and to represent themselves and their community and whatever they have to voice to us. All right, family, but I'm signing out now. Peace and love, and I'll see you guys. Look at it, 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 look at it shine, look at it. Ankh right there, baby. Ankh right there. Eternal life. Let's get it. Peace and love, family. I'll see you guys on the other side.